Hello, welcome to another video, whereby in this video we'll be dealing with Vlookup and Hlookup, but mostly the one most commonly used is Vlookup because it will be checking on data which are arranged vertically, and which is the most case in many companies, unlike Hlookup, but they do perform the same. But in this video we'll cover only Vlookup. Now let's start. With VLOOKUP, it's usually done to reconcile data between two sources. Once you have two datas and you want to check if both datas in both sources are the same or are identical, that way we usually prefer using VLOOKUP. In this scenario, I've created demo data whereby I have office data here, and in the right hand we have bank data, assuming that in our office datas, or the business process here is that when a customer come in our office and we give them an invoice and they go to pay via bank, once that amount is paid via bank will give them the bank receipt. From that bank receipt, when they come to get service in our office, we'll have to offer them also our office receipt, whereby usually in this business scenario, in that business area, there will be two sources of data. There will be a cashier at the office where they will be having their own data, and the bank will also having their own data as bank statements. Now this way, if we want to reconcile data, we will always be required to use VLOOKUP, since data are arranged vertically. I'll first use VLOOKUP in one sheet, assuming that I've copied the bank data from the workbook and bring it to this worksheet so that we can see how we can perform a VLOOKUP when data are in the same worksheet. Now there are two rules we need to adhere before using a VLOOKUP. Our lookup value should always be on the left, whereby our table array should be in the right. That's the second rule. And our table array, once it's on the right, the lookup value, the value that we are finding should be in the first column of that table array that we want to find. But this is not the case when we'll be searching across different worksheets or across different workbook and entirely. Now let's start writing our VLOOKUP in column K. It will be V, okay, yes, it will be VLOOKUP there. Once I press tab, it will autocomplete. The lookup value here, it will be bank receipt. Now the reason we are using bank receipt here, it's because this column, bank receipt, it will be able to uniquely identify each row in our office data and in the bank data. That way, the lookup function will not be confusing data, since the lookup value, it will be unique. The lookup value which we use, the bank receipt, it's unique. So if we are coming to a bank data, also the bank receipt will be unique, and it will be the same with the one we're having at the office. Now that will be the lookup value. I'll put up a comma, and we'll have to provide a lookup array table. Here I'll have to provide the array table with the condition that the first bank receipt, the bank receipt should be the first, since our lookup value will be looking in that column bank receipt. It will be looked in column H, so it has to be the first column in creating in our general array table. After there, we have to provide a column index number. Column index number, after we created our table array, our column index number will be how many columns do we have in a table array, and we can choose either one or two. In this scenario, we only have two, so we can choose one for VLOOKUP to return the bank receipt after its computation has been done, or to return the amount. I'll use one because we want to return the bank receipt if the lookup is successful. And we have another option, which is the last option. It has two options, which is true or false. We say approximate match if that the value that we are looking for is approximately available in the table array, our VLOOKUP will return true, that the data is found. But if it's false, it will only require for a particularly for exact match for VLOOKUP to return an answer. Now, if I put false, which is most common that we usually use, and I close the bracket. Once I press enter, you can see now the value EC ending with 678 is available in our table array. Hence, it is returned, and you can see this one last value here. But let's change this value in bank receipt and see what happened. I'll add another 8 to that receipt which it was found. Once I save this, you can see now the VLOOKUP is returning not available warning. This is not an error. The function VLOOKUP there is working perfectly. It's just that it did not find this value in the table array. Hence, it's returned a warning that is not available, or not applicable. So usually this in doing reconciliation using VLOOKUP, the value that the lookup value that we are not finding our table array is when we have a meeting, an office meeting, where we will be checking where did we get this bank receipts, whereby in that particular month we don't have that specific bank receipts. That's reconciliation. It will be done. Now let's go on autofilling the VLOOKUP throughout the entire table. If we look at this VLOOKUP function and we autofill as it is, you'll see there will be errors. Oh, okay, I'm supposed to autofill it by. Once we autofill, you can see the table array is also going down the same with lookup value. It's been autofilled. Since it's been autofilled, and we don't want our table array to be autofilled. So in this first formula that we entered in column K3, we'll highlight and press F4 so that the table array remain constant. The table array where we are looking for our lookup value, there should be remain constant, so that all the value that we are looking for should be the only one changing, but the table array should remain constant. That where we are looking remain constant and doesn't change, or doesn't change when we autofill the formula. Now when we have entered the $ from H2 to I20. Now when we autofill this formula, yes, since the lookup table array is the same, all the other value will be found except that the first one, which one we changed the value because for learning. But once we're doing reconciliation, all the value all the rows that we return are not applicable are the one we have to check. That means this value is not available in the bank record. Now we'll be required to check why is it not available in the bank record. Meanwhile, in our data, it's available. The way we did it, it's the same when we are coming to Hlookup. The only difference with Hlookup, it will be dealing with data that are arranged horizontally, which is very rare in given companies that we have been working with. But it does the same thing. It has the same role as the VLOOKUP. Now let me clear content here and put these data in a different sheet, and then let's see how it will happen. Now I'll cut all the data. I'll go to a different sheet, creating a demonstration that our office data and bank data are located in different worksheets. The principle will still be the same. If we want our data to be returned to be in either sheet, let's put them in our office worksheet. Now I'll create a VLOOKUP here. VLOOKUP. Our lookup value will be the same. Our lookup table array will be in sheet 2, whereby we have this bank receipt. I'll highlight all these, and once I'm done, I'll press comma. Our table array that we want to be returned from our column index number that we want to be returned from the table array is 1, since we want to return the bank receipt. And the range, the last option, yes, the last option, which will be exact. I'll have to write exact. Well, it returned, no, I didn't write false there. That's the one, but it's still returned not available because this value is not available in our bank records, but we have added 8 in the previous option. Now this one is saying not available. The same thing, we'll have to put constant in our table array. I'll press F4 and it added a dollar sign. Once I autofill, all the other value will be found. Oh, okay, I'll have to autofill like this. All the other value will be found. But here the catch is that we have put false in the option here on the last, the approximate or exact match. But this value is it's end with 78. Now let's assume we are trying to just find an approximate match. If we go to the last option here and write true, it's supposed to see, yes, it's returned, yes, it returned, no, something changed. True. Why did it return the bank receipt, which is the column name here? Okay, let me see. Okay, 1 and true. But it was supposed to return the bank, it was supposed to return the column index number 1 value from where it found the value which is approximately similar to this one. It was supposed to return it, but that's all about Vlookup. It could also be done when these data are across different workbook. The principle is the same. It's only that the value that will be looked for, it will be, let me try using true and then autofill the entire table to return bank receipt. Yes, because it does on approximately, so it doesn't do the exact match. Okay, let me try something first and then using true. What is the table array here in sheet 2? It's from okay, now I see. It returning the receipt because all the bank receipts are starting with EC123, so it's approximately, they're all the same. That's why it's returning wrong answers. But if we put false here, it will say not available, since all the data will be required to be exactly as they are. So if these data are bank data, they are in a different workbook. The only difference here in the formula here before sheet, it will only be there will be the name of the book. But that's all about the VLOOKUP, and thank you.